What is up, guys? This is Amish Hammer. Welcome back to One Take Tutorials. Today we will be going over the Archery Codex, everything that you need to know about it, maybe a few tips, what to do with it, what type of build you can run with it. We will see where the rambling takes us. So let's get into this, guys. First, we are going to start with Arcane Stance. Probably one of the better stances. If you use Arcane Stance, you get a accuracy and a damage bonus of 3% per rank. Before they reworked the codexes, this is kind of a useless one because you would take more damage. Now you don't take any damage, you just get straight accuracy and damage increase, which is fantastic. That is a 21% increase at tier 7, which is very nice. Definitely recommend it, especially if you're a lower tier aspect. Any chance that you get to increase your accuracy, the better your build's going to be, because you need to hit to be able to do damage. So this is definitely a good combo. Would recommend this as your first one. If you're going to start anywhere on the codex, this is number one in my books. Next, we are going to go to fouling. So these, like I said in the last video, most of the codexes have stances that are relatively the same. They just do slightly different things per weapon skill. So some might do more damage or hit more things. So fouling, whenever you swing your weapon, you don't have to actually hit, but anytime you actively swing your weapon, you get a 6% damage resistance for the next 5 seconds. So even if you are shooting your bow and you have really low accuracy and you don't hit anything, you will still get the 6% bonus per rank. This buff was made recently, maybe in the last 3 months. This one's really good if you're trying to run a tankier build, so like a parry archer, which is actually what I was running when I ran archery. I thought it was fantastic. So fouling just reduces all damage because it's damage resistant. It's not damage specific. It's just flat damage resistance across the board. Let's see. So what that does is, I can't do the math off the top of my head. It's a very good amount of damage resistance. You have this maxed out and a parry codex, you're going to be fine. You're not going to die to most things. Next, we are going to do Incendiary, which I think is definitely a very good one for people that run a bard build with provocation, or if you're doing bosses and you hit multiple things, or you're farming in a group and everyone pulls multiple mobs. Incendiary is your AoE stance. You will deal 8% damage to the next closest creature. It's kind of random, so if there are 2 creatures, it'll hit both of them. If there's a third one, it'll just hit a random one within 2 tiles of the main target. Very good, especially if you're provo, like I was telling you before. You can provoke 2 things together, then also have Incendiary, and you're gonna just decimate it because you're hitting both things at one time with 1 arrow, which is very impressive. It's very useful. Definitely would recommend this, especially there's a little cheaty trick. I use this a lot, but if you have fire aspect on the armor, you could put Incendiary on, and every shot, since you're going to hit 2 things, most of those shots are going to be enough damage to cause a flame strike. So every time you shoot, you're causing 2 flame strikes instead of 1, so that's just extra damage. So on to the next one. We're doing Longshot. So this one, a little controversial back when these first came out. This was kind of broken. Extremely broken. But they kind of nerfed it. So now it's probably one of the worst ones that is in the codex, in my opinion, currently. When it first came out, very broken. I will get into it at the end of the codex. But basically, Longshot increases your damage or increases your range by your rank divided by 2. So if you're rank 6, then that's 3 tiles. So it's 3 more tiles. If you're rank 7, it rounds up. That's 4 tiles. And then you also get a damage increase by 3% per rank. So 21% damage increase. Not bad. It's just, I would only really use this one if you're doing a boss and you don't feel like attacking the ads that spawn. You're just going for straight damage on the boss, and you have someone tanking or someone barding or something. Just stand in the back. At tier 7, that's 4 extra tiles that you're going to be able to range from. So you just shoot arrows from a range. You're good. You're doing a lot of damage. Doesn't really matter. It's fantastic. Next, maiming. So this one is very special. Not as good as it used to be. This used to be extremely broken, but then they updated how the Hinder system works for archery. So now it's kind of it's good, but not my first choice. So what maiming does is it increases the duration of your hinder, but also whenever your attack or whenever the mob is hindered, the attacks you do during the hinder do more damage, like a lot more damage. So now for archery, all right, so a little history lesson. Before they nerfed archery and changed up the codex and the weapon special, the weapon special is called Hinder, which is basically a paralyze. So you could shoot at the mob and it would hinder them, and then they would be stuck in place for, I think, 3 seconds by default. In the past, when codexes first came out, there was a thing called a Hinder Archer, which was the most broken template, because you would get gold links for a weapon special chance. So you would increase the chance that you're going to get your weapon special off. And then you would either use air aspect and have like a machine gun with your bow, because you're shooting so fast that it's bound to get a hinder off. And you're shooting so fast that you're doing tons and tons of damage, because maiming increases the damage. Or you were running water aspect, which is what I did, which drastically increases the odds of you getting a hinder off. So you would literally just stand there and pin the monster down, because I would have a 60% chance to hinder a mob, and then they would never be able to move. So it was a very broken skill. Now they made it where hinder has a cooldown. So if it's based off of the speed of your weapon. So if you're using the bow, the single bow, you can shoot the bow. The bow will, since it's the fastest, it will have the shortest hinder duration. But the way they made it now is, the cooldown after a mob is hindered is equal to the duration of the original hinder. So if you hinder something for 3 seconds, it can't be hindered again for another 3 seconds after the hinder runs off, if that makes any sense. So this build with maiming, not very useful anymore, but if you're going to farm in a group and you're able to hinder a mob, you get 10% more damage per rank, but only when the mob is hindered. So, I mean, that's very, very useful. It's just situational. So, unfortunately, I can't give this one top priority like I used to. Now, maiming and Longshot are kind of on the bottom tier for me. They used to, for Longshot, you used to be able to for the distance that the arrow traveled, it would gain damage increase for each tile that it traveled. So they reworked how Longshot works. So now, since it's divided by the range and you get a specific percentage damage increase per rank, doesn't stack up to how it used to be. Before, you used to be able to get, I think, 16 tiles, and then for every tile that it ranged across, it would gain like a 5% damage increase or something, which is really broken. Especially if you're hindering things and locking them down in place. It was a very, very broken skill. All right, next we're gonna get onto the finishers. Sorry for the little ramble. Wanted to get onto it. So we're gonna do Ricochet first. This one is fantastic for bosses or bards, anyone that's using provocation or farming in a group and they're pulling a bunch of people. What Ricochet does is, if you hit a single target, it has a chance to hit multiple targets within 8 tiles. And it does a lot of damage, especially if everything is discorded. You can run Ricochet at bosses, and when the boss is low HP, you can, when it's below 35% HP, you Ricochet if any bosses are around or any adds are around, and it hits all those adds. And if those adds also have lower HP, you can Ricochet off those adds. It's a lot of damage very quickly. Definitely recommend giving this one a try, especially at bosses. It's also what I prefer to run when I'm doing bosses and I have Fire Aspect on. Because Fire Aspect, when you Ricochet and hit 3 mobs and they do 300% more damage, but you also have Incendiary on, if there's any other adds around them, they're still getting hit for even more damage. So a very good chain reaction, I guess you can call it. I definitely recommend it when you're group farming. Now, if you're solo farming, you want to run Pincushion. Pincushion is your average solo PVM build if you're going to run archery. This one, highly recommend if you're just solo attacking a mob. When a mob is under 35% HP, you have a chance to get Pincushion off, or any other finisher. It makes 8 attacks against the target, which have a 66% chance to inflict 100% damage. So what that means is, if I am shooting a single target and I get a 500 damage hit off, and all 8 of these attacks land, there's a 66% chance that I'm going to do a lot more damage. It's going to hit 8 times for 500 damage. So, definitely recommend it. Here, just think of it this way. You have 8 attacks. They're all doing 800 damage. It's very unlikely that's going to happen, but that's 800 damage times 8. I can't do the math off the top of my head. I'm kind of rushed right now because the server is about to go down. Yeah, definitely recommend Pincushion. Very good for solo farming. Sorry I don't have any examples right now. I don't have that echo turned on. But for archery, Pincushion and Discipline, or Pincushion and Discordance combined equals some massive damage. So if you're a bard archer, this is what you want to run, because it is fantastic. Now we'll get to some aspects and what you should run. So depending on your build, this is pretty simple. There's a couple builds you can run. I'm excluding the PvP stuff. You can run a backstabber, like an archery backstabber, which is fantastic. definitely would recommend Longshot for archery. Or, yeah, Longshot for archery. Because you can get extra range. When you shoot, or with a backstabber, when you shoot at range, you're easily outside of the line of sight range, so that you can just take like 5 steps away and instantly hide again. Very good. The next build would be a parry archer. So you have you're basically just using a warrior template, but with archery and parry. You can use the regular crossbow is considered a one-handed weapon, so you put on a shield with that, and you just plink away. I would definitely recommend either arcane, fouling, or maiming for that one, because you want to put out as much damage and not miss, or you want to be tanky. And if you get maiming off and you hinder something, it's going to be locked in place for a while, so you just do a lot of damage while standing there. You can tank it because you are a parry archer. Very good build. Next would be a Provo archer. So this is probably the most common one. There are there's 3 main barding skills. There's peacemaking, provocation, and discordance. If provocation is the main one that we're talking about here, because you can run incendiary with provocation. So provocation is when you make 2 mobs fight against each other, if you guys do not know. So you run in incendiary and also have Ricochet running. So while the 2 mobs are fighting each other, you're shooting and hitting multiple mobs at the same time. They're also discorded, which makes them weaker, so you're doing more damage. And then if you have Ricochet and you get the Ricochet off, it's also going to hit the other mob, which is probably going to put that other mob under 35% HP. So then you target the other mob and hit another Ricochet. So you get multiple Ricochets off while causing incendiary damage. It's very fantastic. Now, there are probably other archery builds. I just don't know off the top of my head. As for aspects, there are multiple that you can run. Air, obviously, fantastic for archery. If you want to make like a machine gun build, you can run air. Blood archers, pretty good from a range, not very tanky, so would use this only for bosses. A disciplined archer, surprisingly decently good. So even though you're getting a hinder off and there's a cooldown after you get the hinder off, if you have discipline on, which increases the amount of damage your weapon specials do, if you hinder something and you can't hinder again, the damage that you get trying to hinder increases, but you also have discipline on, which increases the weapon special, so you're getting even more damage when you keep trying to hinder things, because it just stacks up that damage. Earth, very good for a parry archer. Fire, very good for a boss slayer, so every time you do you hit something, you're causing a flame strike from a range, and it can chain. It's very good. Definitely recommend it. You can do a lyric archer for bards. Very good. Shadow is definitely needed for backstabbing. That will drastically increase your archery backstab damage. Void, very good. It increases your chance to ignore armor, so you're going to constantly be doing major hits. And it's very, very tanky. War aspect, I haven't really tried out yet, but I've heard it's pretty good. Water aspect used to be amazing. Now it's kind of pointless with the new Hinder update, so definitely would not recommend this. I'm going to end the video here, guys. As you can see in the bottom left corner, they keep spamming that the server is about to go down, so I will be back sometime soon. Thank you guys for joining me. If you do have any questions about this codex, or you need any pointers, please message me on Discord and I will gladly try and answer all your questions. Or post it in the comments. If I don't get to it in the comments, maybe someone else will. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. You guys have a good time. Thank you for stopping by.